Hey everyone, and welcome back to Horror Movies for Life YouTube channel and this 1982 horror movie review video. So the movie we're going to take a look at today is one that I don't have the physical media for. I ended up streaming it on Tubi for free because on YouTube, this is a foreign film. And so they did on YouTube. They had a version of it, but it was like in German or something. The subtitles I'm talking about. The movie's it's a French horror film, but it was subtitled in German or some other language, not English. So I found it on Tubi with the English subtitles. The movie I'm talking about is The Living Dead Girl from 1982. Now, this is a French horror drama film from 1982, directed by Jean Rollin. And in French, it's actually titled La Mort Vivante, or Vivant, La Mort Vivante. But obviously in English, it's The Living Dead Girl, and that's what I'm going to go by because I live in America. So let's just go ahead and get into The Living Dead Girl from 1982. So The Living Dead Girl is a 1982 French horror drama film directed by Jean Rollin, or Rollin. The story centers on a young woman who has returned from the dead and needs human blood in order to survive. So the movie opens with two men who break into an old crypt, seeking to dump toxic waste and rob the graves. When an earthquake causes the toxic waste to spill, Catherine Valmont, a young woman who died several years previously, is resurrected. She viciously kills the thieves and drinks their blood. As Catherine walks aimlessly through a field, Barbara spots her and takes a few photos, though Barbara's boyfriend, Greg, takes no notice. Catherine returns to her old house, the Valmont Mansion, and memories of her childhood come back to her, especially of her childhood friend, Helene. As Catherine wanders through the house, a real estate agent shows an old couple around the property, though they show little interest. After they leave, Helene calls the house, presumably inquiring about the sale. However, she hears nothing on the line but the sound of an old cherished music box, leading her to believe that Catherine may still be alive. The agent later returns to the Valmont mansion along with her boyfriend. Catherine interrupts them having sex, killing both and drinking their blood. Helene arrives and is shocked to discover the dead bodies. When she finds Catherine naked and playing the piano, she assumes that Catherine did not die and she was actually hidden for the past 2 years. So yeah, that's kind of the setup, the premise, the beginning of The Living Dead Girl, or La Mort Vivante. As far as the cast goes, we have, and I'm probably going to butcher a lot of these names, but we have Marina Perro as Helene, Francoise Blanchard as Catherine Valmont, Mike Marshall as Greg, and Karina Barone as Barbara Simon. Not a big cast in this movie, especially as far as main characters go. So yeah, that's the setup, the premise, and the cast for The Living Dead Girl from 1982, the French horror drama film, directed by Jean Rollin. So obviously this was a first-time watch for me, so I really didn't know what to expect, but I think this is an interesting movie. Now, I caveat that by saying it's an interesting movie, not necessarily a great horror movie. Excuse me. Although there are things about it that I like, quite a few things actually. So let's just go ahead and get into it, starting with my pros. And you got to start with the gore in this movie. It almost reminded me of an Italian zombie movie with the amount of gore that was in it, because the gore is plentiful throughout the movie, from the opening scene right through the last scene of the movie, right before the ending credits roll. There's plenty of blood, plenty of human flesh ripping, mostly with long fingernails by the living dead girl that she has. She's able to basically like almost use them as like claws or knives. That's how long they are, and so she's sticking them in people's necks and getting blood to squirt out. So there's a ton of gore in this movie. There's also a ton of full frontal nudity in this movie. You see a lot of 70s bush, but yeah, full frontal by several different characters, including the dead girl. She's naked, I would say, for like 60% of the time she's on screen. So this is going to satisfy the gore hounds and the sort of nudity, the people that enjoy and want nudity in their horror movies. You've got plenty of it in this movie, so those are two pros. The movie, I think, is very well shot. Great cinematography in this movie. with great, excuse me, with great scenic imagery and colors throughout the movie. It really does kind of remind me of like a almost a giallo kind of movie. Something like that Argento would have done or something a few years before this. But yeah, it's a really nice looking movie overall. I thought the performance of the main dead girl, Catherine, who was played by Francois Blanchard, I think I'm probably not pronouncing that right, who unfortunately passed away in 2013. Rest in peace to her. She was only 58, almost 59. But I think she does a tremendous job in this movie. Her performance is great. She encapsulates the struggle that this character is experiencing really well between having a thirst for human blood and human flesh, mostly blood, and knowing that it's wrong, kind of still having that, I don't know what you would call it, like the difference between right and wrong and questioning it, especially as the movie goes on. Where at the beginning, when she's first brought back to life, she's just drinking blood, no questions asked. But as the movie goes on and the more people that she ends up killing and drinking their blood, she starts to sort of get some humanistic aspects, knowing that it's wrong what she's doing and that she's evil and that she's dead. She kind of realizes that. So I thought she did a great job in this movie. Great display and believability of emotions that she shows throughout the movie, from going from being basically like a blank stare and just almost zombie-like when she first is awakened to being very emotional and very not sad, but very upset by what she's been doing. So, yeah, tremendous performance by Francois Blanchard. Rest in peace once again. I really thought the whole friendship aspect between Catherine and Helene was really interesting. With flashbacks to their childhood friendship and the blood pact that they make, literally the blood pact that they make, and how that sort of plays out and really plays into the bulk of this movie, the main part of the movie, right up until the very end scene. Right up till the final seconds before the ending credits roll. I think it adds a lot of depth to those characters and to the story as well. That it's not just a mindless, even though there's a lot of killing, there's a lot of gore and a lot of nudity, as I mentioned, there's also more than that. There's this friendship that really takes center stage in this movie. And I also think my last pro is it's kind of interesting how the friends, they sort of change places almost. They have different character arcs that are very interesting. Like, at first, Helene is shocked and horrified by what Catherine has done, but then because of their friendship, she kind of has a change where she's bringing the victims to Catherine by the end of the movie. And Catherine, who's just mindlessly killing people and drinking their blood at the beginning, she has the change to know that this is wrong, and she's trying to tell Helene that she knows what she's doing is wrong and that she's really dead, and she wants her to kill her, but because of their blood pact and friendship, Helene won't do it and instead keeps bringing her more people. It's just a very interesting dynamic there that I thought was very well done in this movie. Like I said, it's not scary. It's not necessarily... I don't think it's quite as emotionally gripping as they make you believe with some of the reviews, but I can understand where they get it from, and I think it's very interesting and well done. So those are my pros for The Living Dead Girl from 1982. As far as cons go, more of a warning. This is a foreign film, and it's not dubbed. I mean, it might be dubbed somewhere. I'm not sure, but the version that I watched on Tubi and on YouTube, it's spoken in French. So unless you speak French, you're gonna have to read subtitles. 90% of the movie, I would say, is in French. But the caveat to that is it's not a heavy dialogue kind of movie. I mean, you're not going to be reading a lot in this movie. So keep that in mind. That's kind of a positive, I guess, for those that don't like to read. They don't like to read their movies. They don't like subtitled foreign films. It's not going to be a big deal in this one because it's not a lot of heavy exposition dialogue scenes going on in this movie. So now the reason it's 90% in French and not 100% in French is we're also introduced to this American couple, this man and woman, and they're speaking in English to each other, but they can then speak French when they're talking to people within the country or the community that they're in, which was kind of weird to me. I don't know. One of my cons is this American couple, frankly. I don't really know what the point of them being in this movie is, or why their characters were getting so involved in this main story, and why they were American to begin with. I don't know if it was to try to create appeal to the American audience by the director and the producer and the makers of the movie. But I just found that kind of weird. But more or less, it was the characters themselves. I just didn't. They kind of felt a little bit out of place, almost like a B story here. And they were trying to get involved in the A story, but it didn't entirely work for me. So that was kind of a con. This couple, this American couple, and their involvement, as well as the fact that they're American for some reason, just weird. The movie's not really scary. It's almost more of a friendship love story. I don't mean love story like in a sexual or romantic way between these two friends, but they really do have a love story. It's a friendship love story, and it says horror drama, so I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense. So just kind of know that going in. And then my final con is I thought some of the effects, it is very gory, and some of the gore works, but some of it doesn't from a practical standpoint. For example, there's a couple of scenes. There's one that comes to mind instantly about the real estate agent who was showing the house kind of early on in the movie, end of the first act maybe. She brings her boyfriend back there and they're going to have sex and they hear a noise and then he goes to discover what it is. And then he starts sort of slowly walking out towards her, the girlfriend, I mean, the real estate agent, and who he was having sex with. And you can totally tell it's not him. I mean, it's some kind of mannequin. They got the head back like this, so you just see the neck. It's got the blood squirting out at her and getting on her face and stuff. You can totally tell this is either a mannequin with a wig or an older lady in a wig. Something like that, but it's definitely not the guy. It's not the actor that it was when he left the room. And it isn't until he falls over dead from all the blood squirting out. Then it's back to the actor again. So things like that I think are pretty noticeable in terms of the gore scenes. There's another scene at the beginning with one of the grave robbers where she puts her fingernails through his eyes. And again, it's like a white-faced, I don't know if it's a person or like a stunt coordinator or something. You can tell it just doesn't hold up that well. It's not the same actor. And so things like that, I mean, like I said, I know this was made in the late 70s, early 80s, but some of those effects really don't hold up well, despite the amount of blood and gore that there is in the movie. So, yeah, kind of a mixed bag of a movie here, guys. But I do think that it's a little bit better than it isn't. And I'm going to give this movie, The Living Dead Girl from 1982, the French horror film, a 6.5 out of 10. It's not a movie that I'm looking to add to my collection anytime soon, although I do see that it's available on DVD as well as Blu-ray, so I might put it on more of my long-term forecast list to possibly add at some point, but it's not a movie that I need to go rush out and get right away, although I wouldn't be against watching it again either. So 6.5 out of 10 for The Living Dead Girl from 1982, the French horror film that is subtitled, so keep that in mind. But with all that being said, go ahead and comment down below if anybody has seen this movie, what your thoughts are about it. Please like this video, hit the little notification bell, and please subscribe to my channel. If you haven't already, it would really help me out in the content going forward on my channel. But with that being said, thank you for watching. I hope you're enjoying my review series for 1982. And as always, stay scared. Bye.